Long before human memory, before mountains carried names or oceans were charted by lines and numbers, the seas of the late Cretaceous moved to a different rhythm. The continents were still drifting, climates were warmer, and shallow inland seas stretched across what would one day become familiar land. Within these waters lived a creature so improbable in form that even today it challenges our understanding of marine life. This was Elasmosaurus. At first glance, it seemed almost unreal. A body shaped like a powerful swimmer, 4 broad flippers driving it forward, and rising from its torso, a neck longer than the rest of its body combined. More than 70 vertebrae stacked in a gentle curve, forming a living extension unlike anything alive today. Elasmosaurus was not a dinosaur, though it lived alongside them. It was a marine reptile, a plesiosaur, fully adapted to life beneath the surface of ancient seas. Its discovery in the 19th century confused even experienced scientists. Early reconstructions placed its head at the wrong end, mistaking the long neck for a tail. Only later did paleontologists realize the truth. This animal did not trail its length behind it, it carried it forward, probing the water column with silent patience. Elasmosaurus evolved in a time when oceans were crowded with competition. Sharks, mosasaurs, ammonites, and countless fish species filled the food web. Survival required specialization, and Elasmosaurus was nothing if not specialized. Its neck was not built for speed, nor for violent strikes. Instead, it allowed the animal to hunt with subtlety. While the bulk of its body remained distant, the small head could slip into schools of fish unnoticed, snapping prey before alarm spread. The skull itself was narrow and lightweight, lined with sharp, needle-like teeth. These were not tools for tearing flesh but for gripping slippery prey. Fish, squid, and soft-bodied marine animals formed the core of its diet. Unlike apex predators that relied on brute force, Elasmosaurus relied on geometry, reach, and timing. Movement through the water was powered by 4 flippers working in coordinated rhythm. Rather than paddling, Elasmosaurus flew underwater, its limbs generating lift much like the wings of birds in air. This method allowed for long-distance travel with minimal energy loss, essential in the vast and often nutrient-sparse oceans of the Cretaceous. Despite its size, stretching up to 14 meters in length, Elasmosaurus was not a fast sprinter. Speed was unnecessary. The ocean rewarded efficiency more than aggression. Its long neck, while visually dramatic, likely moved with controlled precision, avoiding sudden motions that could alert prey or strain its structure. The environment it inhabited was warm and shallow, rich with life. Inland seas covered parts of North America, creating ideal conditions for large marine reptiles. Coral reefs, plankton blooms, and abundant fish populations sustained complex ecosystems. Elasmosaurus was not merely a resident of these waters, it was a defining presence. Reproduction, though not preserved in fossils, followed patterns common to marine reptiles. Elasmosaurus gave live birth, freeing it from dependence on land. From the moment it entered the world, its offspring were swimmers, vulnerable yet immediately part of the ocean's endless motion. Yet even giants are not immune to time. As the Cretaceous period drew toward its end, the seas began to change. Volcanic activity, shifting currents, and eventually a catastrophic impact altered the planet irreversibly. Food chains collapsed, oceans cooled, specialized hunters like Elasmosaurus found fewer places to thrive. And slowly, without ceremony, they vanished. What remains today are bones locked in stone and questions carried forward by science. Elasmosaurus stands as a reminder that evolution does not always favor simplicity. Sometimes, it experiments boldly, stretching form and function into shapes that seem almost poetic. In the silent imagination of ancient seas, the long neck still moves, tracing arcs through water that no longer exists. As the late Cretaceous world aged, the oceans that once favored giants like Elasmosaurus began to subtly betray them. The balance that had sustained vast marine ecosystems for millions of years grew increasingly fragile. Small changes, nearly imperceptible on a generational scale, accumulated into pressures that even the most specialized creatures could not escape. Competition intensified. Mosasaurs, powerful, fast, and aggressive marine reptiles, expanded rapidly across the seas. Unlike Elasmosaurus, which relied on patience and reach, mosasaurs hunted with speed and brute force. They were adaptable, opportunistic, and capable of exploiting a wider range of prey. In ecosystems where resources fluctuate, versatility often triumphs over elegance. Elasmosaurus did not vanish because it failed. It vanished because the world it was designed for no longer existed. The oceans cooled, sea levels shifted, shallow inland seas receded, shrinking the habitats where long-necked hunters thrived. Changes in plankton populations rippled upward through the food chain, reducing fish abundance in critical regions. For a predator whose strategy depended on stealth and proximity, distance became an enemy. Yet extinction is rarely sudden. It unfolds quietly, generation by generation. Fewer offspring survive. Feeding grounds become inconsistent. Migration paths lose their value. The fossil record captures only moments, but behind each preserved bone lies a long story of adaptation stretched to its limit. The final blow came not from gradual change, but from catastrophe. Approximately 66 million years ago, an asteroid struck the Earth with unimaginable force. The immediate destruction was only the beginning. Dust and debris filled the atmosphere, blocking sunlight. Photosynthesis collapsed. Oceans cooled rapidly. Acidification increased. Entire marine food webs disintegrated. In this darkness, creatures dependent on stable systems faced extinction with no refuge. Elasmosaurus, bound to the open seas and specialized hunting, could not retreat, could not pivot. Its world ended not with struggle, but with silence. What remains today of fossils embedded in limestone and chalk, discovered in places far from modern coastlines. Kansas, Wyoming, regions now dry and distant from the sea. These locations remind us that the Earth itself is never fixed. Oceans rise, oceans vanish, life adapts, or disappears. Modern science continues to study Elasmosaurus not merely for its size or strange proportions, but for what it reveals about evolutionary possibility. Its anatomy challenges assumptions about efficiency. Its success demonstrates that extreme specialization can thrive when conditions allow. In documentaries and reconstructions, the long neck often becomes spectacle, but in life, it was function, a solution shaped by millions of years of trial and error. No wasted length, no unnecessary design, just a form perfectly tuned to a moment in Earth's history. There is something humbling in this realization. Elasmosaurus did not seek dominance. It did not reshape the ocean. It simply lived within it, precisely, beautifully, temporarily. And that may be its greatest lesson. Life does not move toward permanence. It moves toward fit. When the fit ends, life moves on, leaving traces behind for others to interpret. In this way, extinction is not failure. It is transition. Today's oceans carry different giants, different strategies, different risks, yet they remain vulnerable to the same forces: climate shifts, environmental disruption, sudden catastrophe. The story of Elasmosaurus is not distant. It is ongoing. The long neck no longer cuts through ancient water, but its legacy flows forward, in science, in imagination, and in the quiet understanding that even the most extraordinary creatures exist only as long as the world allows. Beneath modern waves, evolution continues its work. Slowly, relentlessly, without memory,